A press conference in Boston this morning. He is a member of the Celtics. I think they won the trade. I think he will make them an NBA Eastern Conference juggernaut for most of the next 10 years if he stays. 2 if he doesn't. I think he will for a few. I think for the next decade, or at least most of it, Boston, not LeBron, is going to dominate the Eastern Conference. I'm reading a story this morning from Howard Beck, respected NBA guy on a blog. He talked to NBA insiders, executives, front office people. I trust his sources. He knows what he's doing, been covering it for a long time. What people are saying is they question whether or not Kyrie Irving is a star. I'll read you a second here. It says, in these rare moments when the cool facade drops, the ego hibernates, and the better angels emerge, the 25-year-old offers a hopeful glimpse of what he might be, a complete player, a superstar, a leader. As a scorer, he's certifiably elite. Probably the best one-on-one player in the league, says one veteran scout. Yet the evidence suggests Irving is a flawed star, flaky on defense, indifferent, consumed with scoring. Okay, let me think about this. Okay, who was our last MVP? Russell Westbrook? Isn't he sort of consumed with offense? James Harden, Steph Curry? Folks, here's what's happened. Here's what's happened. This happens all the time. Sometimes there are cultural changes, legal changes, and rule changes. And it increases and decreases the value of something. Like penmanship and handwriting. Penmanship and handwriting was an essential tool in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Then came the computer and email and texting and the iPhone and the internet. Suddenly nobody writes letters. Penmanship and handwriting has regressed in importance. There's nobody that's a complete point guard anymore in the NBA because you can't hand check. And in 2004 and 2005, when the NBA said you cannot hand check guards, they all mostly score at will if they have that skill level. First of all, great scorers have always virtually been impossible to stop. Bill Russell, best defensive center ever. Wilt Chamberlain scored whenever he wanted on Bill Russell. The hand check left all but 2 NBA teams. Only 2 NBA teams last year held teams to under 100, barely, Spurs, Jazz. Kyrie's a great ball handler, a great finisher, a great scorer. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. That qualifies as a franchise great player. And now he goes to a world-class head coach. I read the article. One guy says, listen, the Knicks wouldn't even give up Porzingis for Kyrie. Yet the Knicks sold their franchise for Carmelo Anthony. We now look at the Knicks for good judgment. Listen, man, rules, laws change. Legislation, tax codes change. And it changes the way you have to view things, people, and movements and organizations. There are no great defensive point guards. Chris Paul's about the best, and what people like about him, he can turn you left-hander to the right side, right-hander to the left side. He doesn't stop the great guys from scoring. Steph Curry scores on him, and Westbrook scores on Paul, and Harden can score on Chris Paul. Everybody can score on Chris Paul. He does a good job of turning you left-hander to right, right to the left side. But this idea that Kyrie Irving, because he's not a very good defender, is not a franchise player, then who is? Kawhi Leonard, who doesn't pass? Westbrook, hard to play with, can't shoot a 3 in a 3-shooters league? James Harden, who just sort of waves at you as you go by and drop a layup? We're nitpicking here, folks. Boston won the deal. They got the best closer in the league. They got a superstar performer and will dominate the East for most of a decade if Kyrie signs a long-term deal.